Wisconsin it's cold, but I do like living up here, and I got adjusted to the weather and the food and everything else that I had to. Yeah, it's a beautiful place to be, even in the summer and winter. Then you get to enjoy the snow.
It's a nice place to live. We don't have to deal with a lot of crime, and I feel safe here.
There isn't a lot of problems. It's really clean, and it's not too hard to find something to do without getting in trouble, without doing something wrong.
I find it boring. I think it's very small, so there's not that many minorities. There's a majority of white people. Actually, I love to see more of the minorities grow, because then we wouldn't be such a minority, you know. And then again, it's kind of bad, because there is always ups and downs between things. You know, if you have too much minorities congregating together, and you know, you'll have these other groups that congregate together also, then you'll have a gang and stuff like that. And I see that today, and you know, I guess I was in one of them, and now that I grew out of it, I thought it was kind of silly to be congregating like that just for protection or whatever the case may be.
I think it's good because the more we have of minorities, the better it will be for the mass majority to understand how we are and why we are here.
It's gonna be a lot helpful in the sense that white people can start getting more educated towards other races.
Well, I think it feels kind of bad because if you're a minority, then you get to be put down by other races who are much better than you are, and they look at you as if you're so low and you don't have any self-esteem or anything.
Well, it's hard sometimes because you do get treated differently. Because like when I went to school at Bayport, they thought I sold drugs because the way I dressed and stuff like that. They called me down to the office and stuff like that. And he asked me, do I sell drugs? I said no, just because the way I dressed and stuff like that.
When you go to places, public places or private places, you'll always be picked out. You know, I mean, if you see a guy that, like myself, he does something wrong, right? Everybody knows, and everybody stops what they're doing and look at you. But if a white guy does something, you know, it's just, people know, but not as many people will know because he's white and he blends in with the majority.
It's hard because every day is a struggle for you because, you know, you don't get all the options that other people might get, and you get looked on as though it's not your country, you shouldn't be here.
I think, being a minority because you're different than everybody else, which kind of makes you special because you can get scholarships to programs like Bull Band Camp, the multicultural camps, swim camps, which is really neat.
How I feel about being a minority is that it's pretty good in a way because you get attention. Sometimes you get special programs.
The ESL program it's a great program to have. I mean, when I first came, I wasn't, you know, I was the minority and I didn't have any special program, ESL or anything like that. I had to learn through my instincts. I don't know. I had to learn the hard way, you know. Learning the alphabet, my no's were no, yeah. You know, it was hectic. I think the ESL program is really improving, and it's really helping people that don't know how to, you know, read or write or whatever the case may be. I mean, I entered the program for like 6 months, and I learned how to, you know, to write and read, and then they just kicked me out because I know how to write and read.
It's one of the worst things in the world because it can tear a country apart, and it can tear people apart and make a lot of hatred. And I mean, if you even said one racist thing to someone, that can change their opinion on you for the rest of your life.
Well, what I feel about racism is that it's something that is turning this country inside out, and it's making it worse every day. And there is like more violence on the street, and people hating people because of the differences is just, you know, not good.
The way I look at racism is pure ignorance. If you understand a different culture and its functions, then you wouldn't have racism. But if you don't understand their culture and their society, then you would feel like you're alienated, and that's why there's racism.
It's just sad to know that some people don't understand what is right and what is wrong yet. Like they just they think that it's just some little game that they can play around with different people, and it's just sad to know when people go around doing all those nasty things to other people and thinking that they're better than one another.
It's stupid. That's how I feel. Because you should treat everybody the way they is. All the same color beneath.
I feel that it's bad, and it's a bad attitude and stuff like that, because they think as if you, like when we went into the store one time, they asked to check my cousin, and we were just getting to the store. They asked to check him. I don't know why. I ain't saying because he was black and everything, but I don't think they'll do a Caucasian like that, seriously.
One time I was walking at the mall with two of my other friends, which are white, and the security guard stopped me, and he asked me if I've been paying for all my stuff, and he would like to check if I had all my receipts for all my items I purchased. And I asked him how come he doesn't ask one of my white friends, and he just said that I saw them purchase their stuff and I didn't see you. So he just kind of had a little talk with me, and that's all.
I was going into the video arcade, and one security guard said that me and my friend had been there for 2 hours when we got there 45 minutes earlier, so he asked us to leave. And my friend started to he started to get mad because the security guard was obviously lying, and to a certain extent he was saying that we all looked the same or something, because he basically had no grounds to look at us and say that we were the guys that were there 2 hours ago when we just got there 45 minutes earlier.
When we first started going to clubs, it was okay, and then all of a sudden, it was, oh, you guys are in a gang. Oh, okay, you have a cross on your necklace, you can't wear it. You have your name on your necklace, it looks like a gang thing, you can't wear it. You're wearing this, it's a gang color, you can't do this. And it was like there'd be another group of people walking in doing the same stuff that could get in with no problem. Or like we would go to the club and somebody can get in without an ID. Well, I can get in without an ID, but everybody else can't get in without an ID. If like the rest of my friends would come in without their ID, they'd get kicked out. But if somebody, like a group of white kids would come in without their ID, they get in with no problem. We wouldn't even ask any questions about it. And they would make us sign, there's a little book they have at Brooklyn's that you write out, and you put your name and address and everything, and they take it to the police department and run your name. And then bring it back, and if you come up the next day and you come up with something like jaywalking on the thing, they won't let you in the club.
He too prejudiced. Tell me something, I don't like you, you gotta go, and things like that. You can't come here ever again. And you be like, why? We ain't did nothing wrong. We just come to dance and have fun and things like that. Associate. He say, cuz I just don't like you. You come in here with your fancy clothes on and things like that, think you all that. I don't like you, I don't like your attitude. So you gotta get out of my club. That ain't the way you come to people like that.
I'm a guy just like everybody else, most. Regular guy. I go to parks and play ball, and play some ball, and play more ball. Then, these police comes in and they check my car for no reason, and, and to disappoint me, that, really hurt me morally was that they checked just my car, but not the others that was parked there, Well, I had a junky car. Maybe that's why they drove him to check it, but I doubt that. But of course, to their disappointment, they didn't find what they were looking for. They thought I was a big-time mafia or something, but I ain't. And it's a shame that they'll pick you out from a crowd and just search you and not the people around you.
Like we went to the club last week, or a weekend ago, and they pulled us over talking about this truck that we was driving. It was a lowrider. It was about 4 of them there, and they pulled us out of it because we was the only one with all black people in it, and the rest of them had all, white people in it. And he say, our wheels extended too low, you too low to the ground, and things like that. When trucks scraping the ground, ours ain't even doing that. They pulled us over, telling us, we gonna get them later. How you gonna get them if they went the other way and we going this way? And there's only 2 police officers in the whole town.
If you driving a nice car, a minority, we gonna get pulled over because they think we selling drugs, because they ain't used to seeing all that up here in Wisconsin. They ain't used to seeing a minority with nice things unless you rich or something, as I said before. Otherwise, they'll think you selling drugs or something.
You see, people tend to treat you different because you stand out. And for example, I went to I was at work, I was in a hurry, but I delivered pizza, and on my delivery, after I deliver it, I would stop by at a stand where they sell strawberries in Angelica. So, I waited, and these people came and she waited on them and waited on the other people, and I was the last one, and then, more people came and waited on them and not me. Why? Because she thought I was with, her or something like that, or she thought I was a strawberry picker, but, that I had my uniforms on, that shouldn't stop her from looking at my hat or my shirt saying, hot stuff pizza, that's where I work, So she goes, can I help you? I go, yeah, I'd like a pound, please. Even though inside I was bleeding and, wanting to do something bad. But, I got a good head on my shoulder.
I think racism is caused by jealousy and hatred, and sometimes the parents pass that on to their children.
You can see little black kids going swimming and things like that, and you can see when they get in the pool, their parents bring the other white kids out the pool and things like that, or pull them to the other side of the pool and things like that. That's not right, especially to young kids. They don't even know about prejudice yet.
And I've had many experiences here and there, but most of it was in middle school where a lot of kids were picking on me, and because I was different from them, and they told me to go back where I came from and called me coffee bean, and said that I must be carrying drugs and things like that.
When I was walking down the street, some white people come driving by, and they point middle fingers at me, and they call me gook and all that. But to me, I guess, I don't look at them as bad people. I just look at them as, ignorant people.
I receive a whole bunch of crap from people. They say stuff about me, and this one guy, he's probably drunk. He said, I would kick your butt in the Vietnam War. To show him how educated he was, we didn't even win the Vietnam War. And a lot of people died in that war, and maybe keep it in the past is the only way.
I feel if I'm going to be mad at somebody for calling me names and saying stuff, why should I turn around and do the same thing? It's just contradicting myself. Why get mad at somebody for calling you a nigger or whatever, and you're going to sit there and call them a hick or whatever, a redneck or whatever, If you don't like being called it, then why do it to somebody else?
I feel offended because I just feel treated as if, I'm nothing, and I'm just worthless, I don't compare to anything. I'm just nothing to them.
I look at that as a put down from other cultures. They put us down by pointing fingers at us or something, because maybe they don't understand the way we work and the way our culture is. That's why they do such things like that. Sometimes I don't take that as being offended, because if I'm used to it, then I just let it go.
I would get in a lot of fights because of it. And I don't think people were racist. They might have been, but I don't think they were. I think they just saw it as a way to get me mad, because they knew I didn't I didn't like that kind of thing. But now that I'm older, you know, I just tend to leave it alone, you know. I just let those people go their own way, and I correct them, and then I leave it alone.
Usually I ignore it because you don't want to start a fight, because it's, if you start fighting and calling that person a name, you're no better than that person.
Well, I've dealt with it two different ways. One way I did, basically I just said, forget it, it's not even worth getting angry about. Or just say, well, the person's ignorant, walk away. And the other one was I had to go to alternate alternative, and I ended up getting into a big fight.
Racism is a terrible thing that a human has to have in his head or her head. It's, you know, if I was the blueprint of whoever makes the people, I'd take that part off. I mean, you know, I'd do it gladly, you know, with a smile on my face, and it'd make me feel real good to do that.
Well, the difference about my culture from American culture is that, you know, my culture has a very strong family bonding, and that's what keeps us all together. But the American culture, it's like their family bonding, they don't have it anymore. It's not there.
There's more respect towards family members and elders. There's more, there's less ignorance towards other cultures. There's more respect towards other cultures and other people compared to most white Americans.
Our culture is very different because we don't have like laws. Like, we have laws too, but not like the American laws. And dating is different. You know, being a teenager is a lot different. You have a lot more responsibility, and you get to do a lot. I guess you get to help your parents more than, you know, what other American people might get to, how teenagers get to do.
Our culture is different in a sense that we want to form a family, and we take care of our family, and no matter what, our family is the first priority over us. And I think that is part of the reason why our culture is a little bit different from the American culture. There are many more reasons, but I guess that's one of them.
Beliefs, the major difference is that the American people believe different things. Not all of them, just some of them believe different things in my culture. And I'm Oneida from the Turtle Clan. And there's different stories that they believe, and there's different stories, or legends, that the American people believe.
Well, we dress differently. Kids start to work a lot younger. We get married a lot younger. And they probably have a little bit more freedom than American kids do.
The difference between my culture and the American culture is that in the American culture, you get more freedom, and guys and girls are equally treated. But in the Hmong culture, the guys and girls are not that equally treated. The girls are put on a lower standard than the guys. As a girl right now, I don't get much freedom as much as the guys because that's the way it is in our culture, but yeah, it's okay.
Actually, myself as a guy has many freedoms. You know, I can go out late, come home late or whatever, whenever I want to. Because why? Because I got cars and money. That's all you need is to go out. But my sister, in the case of girls, you know, they don't have much freedom. My sister, she doesn't go very far, or she doesn't go anywhere because the parents limit that to, you know, like the girl's supposed to stay home and then get married and, you know, the old traditional way, but I see that changing now.
As living in America, I feel I get a little more freedom because if I were back in where we came from, I'm pretty sure we did a lot of farming and no education, mostly farming, and living in America has brought a lot of change, and I would say there is more freedom.
Compared to Americans or white people, not really. Most white people, like kids can just, like 16 or whatever, they can spend all hours out and stuff like that. But in my culture, usually you stay at home. When you're 18, you're not considered an adult. You're still a child. So it's not that much freedom, but there is some freedom.
There is drastic difference. I mean, people say that we are a melting pot, and the education I receive, I have, you know, put things together and said it's not a melting pot anymore. It's more like a mosaic, a piece of art, you know, to form the United States of America. People, you know, you got people from India bringing in their art here and living here, and people from Africa. You have people from Asia, Europe. They come together and they form a mosaic, which is an art that it's put together piece by piece, but the piece keeps its element. Therefore, the culture that they bring with them to America, they keep their culture. It's just another analogy of they don't really blend in, but they do adapt, but tend to keep their own culture.
Being a minority teen is living in the United States hard because you're caught between two cultures. You want to be Hmong, but then you can't entirely be Hmong because then, you know, you get name called and all that stuff. But to be American, then you get yelled at by the elders, so it's really hard. You're kind of caught in between.
You always have to watch out for what you're doing, and you always have to be careful, because one little thing that you make, one little mistake you make, people put you down and they look at you so low. It's like, you know, you're the lowest person on earth or something, you know.
Number one, I'm young, and number two, I'm a black male, and that's 2 strikes against me already. And I think that if I don't have an education, that's 3 strikes, and I'm not going anywhere. So I already have 2 strikes against me, and I have to do my best to keep up my image, because as soon as I mess up, that's it. I don't have a second chance, like many other people.
People misjudge you because of what they've heard. Well, you know, black teenagers, they're doing something, and then, you know, you try to go into a restaurant or something, and then people are stopping, staring at you, asking you why you here, and all this other stuff.
The most difficult thing being a minority teen is being so looked down upon. I mean, a lot of people that say they're your friends, to your face, may turn around to another person and say something different, and it gets back to you, and it really hurts.
The hardest part of being a minority teen is adjusting to your new peers, or adjusting to the new environment that you have encountered. I go to places that I don't know anybody, and it's very hard to meet new friends, I tell you.
They're really hard, but you just gotta stick to it. But I guess all the negative things that you hear about people and things like that, they judge you differently. You could be watching TV or something, or a group of blacks did this. You could read on the newspaper, a group of blacks did that. You ain't supposed to do that. That's hard on us, because then some black people do things wrong, and then you could be a good one, and then you go, like, say some black people messed up a restaurant or something like that. You can come in and, you know, you can be a nice person and things like that, and then that messes it up for you, because then they be like, well, he black just like the rest of them, they'll do this too. And, you know, it's not like that. You can't judge them the same way.
What I like to say to people to make them understand and respect my people is that, you know, we do things different from you, and that's the way our culture is. And, you know, you should be able to accept that, because we accept so much of your culture into us, and we're changing a lot. We're going through really hard times, you know, and you should understand that, because you've been through more than we have, and, you know, you should just see it that way for once.
I want them to know that we have as many rights as them to live in this country, because it was the Hmong people that helped them fought the Vietnam War, and they are like the veterans of the United States too, so we have as much rights as them, so they can't tell us to go back to our country.
I will try to tell them about my background and about my culture.
I want people to know that if they've had a bad experience with someone of a different race, that it doesn't mean that everyone of that race is going to be like that, that every race has good people and bad people, and everywhere you go, everyone's different, and it doesn't matter whether someone's black or white or Hispanic or Asian or what they are. Every race has different people. Everyone's different.
I like to say that I use this phrase a lot, that don't kick dirt in those eyes you have not seen through, and don't judge those hands that you have not experienced what they have experienced. Just, know the person or whatever the case may be before you really give them a judgment. Kind of like put somebody on trial before you judge them. Give them a chance to tell what they have to say and how they want to say it and what their feelings are. It's only fair that way,
I want to tell them not to believe the hype, not to believe the stereotypes of what we are, of what people think we are, and what the media plays us out to be. We're just normal people, even though we look different. Even though we might look different, we're the same as you. We aren't going to do something different just because we look different. I want you to give us the same chances that you would give somebody else of your same color.
What I want to say is that no matter what color we are or what race we are all human beings, and we all have feelings and emotions. So just because of our color, just don't think that we don't have emotions or we don't have feelings, because we all are human beings.
I think you should know a person before you judge them, instead of seeing them right away and saying, oh, I don't like that person because of something that they couldn't help.
Something I would like to change in this community is probably all the crime and violence that's going around. It's not as bad as other cities, but it's getting there, and whenever all those things happen, everybody just kind of freaks out and wish that, they could be at other places, other cities, other countries, but, no matter where you are, it's just as dangerous.
I would probably just like to change the fact that some people do think that everything is based on color and race, because it's not. You have to see that good in a person instead of seeing the race or religion.
I like to see a lot of things change. I like to see more programs and about, cultural diversity in the city, or even in the whole state. It'd be great to have it, nationwide, and teach kids to be more aware of what is expected in the near future. That we got to put up with this minority problem that we're facing. It's a problem that's growing. A lot of people are becoming uneducated about the situation, where they just put it behind them, and that's not good to put things behind. You have to learn to accept people as who they are. Only then will you discover each other's needs. Who knows? If the person you hate the most might be the person that finds the cure to the cancer or the AIDS problem that your sister or brother has.
Well, what I like to change in this community is that I wish people would be more open-minded about everything else that's happening outside, instead of worrying what's inside their world. They should open up and think about everybody else, because it's going to affect them some way, somehow.
Something that I would like to change in this community would be openness to other groups and other races, because I think that this community needs to open up and understand other cultures much more than its own.
I know everybody's going to come out of this state of mind and understand that people are people. And there's nothing, they couldn't help what color they are, but I know I'm proud to be black. I'm proud to be my culture. And if you can't handle that, well then fine, that's you. But there are other people out there willing to accept me for who I am.
think some days everybody will get along, but then there'll always be some people that are stubborn and don't want to accept the truth, so there'll always be a few.
I don't think so. That's because prejudice is taught. And down the line, I'm sure it's going to be like all the KKKs, they teach their kids, and then their kids going to teach their kids. It's going to always be prejudice no matter what to me. That's the way I feel.
That's right now, we got to just work at it, because I don't think we're going to get along if we're just going to keep on fighting and killing each other and being gangs. And I hate you because you're this color or that color. But we just got to work at it.
I don't think so, because it's human nature not to get along usually. People always make fun of other people and see the differences and things like that. I don't, maybe someday, but I don't think so.
No, I don't, truthfully, because as long as there are racist groups like the Ku Klux Klan and other groups that are against people of a different race, then as long as if they keep on passing that down to their children, then their children's children will learn that, and it'll just keep on getting passed down from generation to generation, and that generation will always have that hate. So that's why they need to try to change their minds. People have to try to change their minds, because otherwise the parents will try to pass that down to their children.
From the way I see it now, I don't think so, because there's too many wars and there's too much prejudice in this country that I don't think that it would ever get along.
I would like to believe that they'll all get along one day, but I really don't think that's possible, because from what I've seen, there are always people in a group who always just manage to ruin things, and it seems like they can never get along with anybody else, so I don't think that that's possible.
I'm not really sure in that, but I truly hope that someday we will get along. And like I said, you know, I'm only hoping. I'm not really sure on what the future would be like.
I think means to be an American is that you are all living in one country under one flag of the United States of America, and that you believe in the constitutional rights, and you believe in all the amendments, and that you agree to follow them all. And if you don't, if you treat someone of a different color differently, who is considered American, that you shouldn't be considered American anymore.
To be an American is to have all the opportunities and the freedom that the laws have established for everyone.
I don't believe there is a need to be an American. Just live life and be happy.
Being American, probably think to me, having equal rights as everyone else, freedom.
To be an American, just to me, it means, you know, if you live here, you got two hands that has an endless possibility to create and to learn from your mistake. And, you know, it's your two hands and legs. You can do whatever you please, you know. It's an endless process. It's a cycle that I wasn't able to have before I came to the United States, and here I am. You know, some people take things for granted, but you know, their hair dryers don't work. What do? They bitch about it. But you know, there's some people that don't even have things to eat and lights, and they don't have these electronic things and carpet, floor, all these convenience. To be an American is to work your way up the ladder and be at the top, you know, and the opportunities are there, you know, they're by the door. All you have to do is knock the door down, and if there's another barrier in life, you have to get through that and weather the storm. And, you know, to be an American is like to be able to do things that I wasn't be able to do before, and I'm thankful for these things that I am, you know, able to do because of other people's accomplishments. It's just hard work, I think, is American. Hard work.
I wish for everybody just to, you know, love everybody for who they is, not what they do and what they hear and everything like that. And stop the violence and stuff, increase the peace.
I would really like to be famous, just like everyone else. You know, there's always, you know, you want to be famous, you want to be a millionaire, and if I ever do become famous, like be a singer or an actress or an artist or something, I'm going to try my best to get the word out that it's like to help people, different minorities, people of Americans to come to an understanding that it's not the color that counts.
If I do have the wish, you know, if there was a way to remove hatred or any part of the human mind, you know, there's certain tissues in your mind that that collects those hatred, and someday it brings it out, and therefore it hurts other people, and the beneficiary would be yourself. And if there's a way, you know, I wish that maybe we can take that part of the brain out, and therefore there's no hatred among us. You know, we all can live in harmony and paradise on earth.
I wish that, you know, everybody in this whole world would help each other instead of like hate each other, because everybody is different.
Probably would just be world peace. And that everybody would get along and everybody would respect themselves, each other, and the world.
If I had one wish, it would be that I could go as far as my talents would carry me, and that the color of my skin wouldn't hold me back or hold anybody else back. The color is just a shell, and I like to think of myself as colorblind.